there's so many people now that when they see the landscape of YouTube and they immediately think, "Oh, there's so many channels. It's so saturated. There's no way I can ever make it big on YouTube." And in many senses, that is very correct because just in before in comedy, you'll look at maybe 5, 10 channels. Now you have probably thousands of channels in comedy. So yes, it's very, very saturated. But there are still channels that come out of nowhere and they explode. For example, just 2 years ago, no one really knew who Jenna Marbles was, and she came in and she killed it. And I think the recipe to doing that is finding a unique voice that is still very relatable, and that's what's really gonna set you apart from anybody else. And I think that's the recipe for a lot of the channels that do come out of nowhere and are very successful.
But when you talk about a unique voice, so I've seen plenty of videos that are quality videos that are, you know, someone took a lot of effort to make. It's very unique,
Yeah,
it's new, and yet they don't go viral. Within weeks, we're talking about 500, 600 views, you know, nowhere near 10,000, hundreds of thousands, 10 million views. Is the goal, I mean, just to put out content and hope it hooks, or is there a partnership strategy? You know, do people come to you and say, hey, you're in the fitness world, I have a really good video, I'll pay you, can you put it on your channel and try to get me some, you know, like kind of launching help so that it kind of grows
yeah,
faster?
yeah. So collaborations are one of the biggest ways to help channels grow on YouTube. And I think on YouTube, the average YouTube viewer is actually very intelligent. So usually the collaborations that come out the best are the ones that are very, very organic, and both channels have a very similar voice. So for example, if you have a guy that's into hardcore lifting and this guy is like smacking himself in the face and he has chains and all kinds of crazy gear, and then you see him do a collaboration with like a yoga instructor, that might be kind of forced, you know? And then so with that, the YouTube viewer will be like, wait a second, is this a paid advertisement? Did the yoga person pay this really famous hardcore lifter? Like, what's going on here? So usually the collaborations happen the best, either A, with similar content, or B, you hide it in a very clever way.
So, but are collaborations the only way to become successful, or is it really viral content? Because a lot of people say viral content isn't really viral. It's a combination of a good, you know, keyword, like a really good video, and then it's the combination of a lot of people sharing that video, or at least engaging with the content quickly, like some bigger names, you know, like either yourself or some other
Yeah,
people on YouTube to kind of
yeah.
reshare it, even if it's not a like collaboration. So is that the only strategy, or is there something that you know that we don't know about YouTube that you can share about how someone can still at least have a fighting chance, even if not fully succeed?
I think a lot of the top people do know what the recipe is. The hard part is nailing that recipe. So usually if you have something that's unique, something that no one has seen before, is very relatable, has a lot of entertainment value, it's well shot, it will go viral. The hard part is nailing all those things. So for example, if you remember, I think a year ago, or was it 2 years ago now, that Korean pop artist Psy with Gangnam Style, like that just came out of nowhere. And I remember for the longest time, it could still be now, it's the most highly viewed YouTube video of all time. And I think he came correct. He was really funny. No one ever saw like this Korean guy sing this way before, have all these funny scenes, and it was super well shot. It was like shot by like a legit studio, and that was just so creative that people had to share it. And some other like commercials that I've seen that do well is like Dollar Shave Club. They do really creative ads, and it's stuff like that that I think really makes people want to share it.
So you think
And
that
that,
I think Dollar Shave Club is a good example. So you feel that the Dollar Shave Club guy was successful simply because of the quality and content of his ad, or do you think that there's massive money behind that to kind of create momentum for something like that?
I definitely think it's the combination of three. So first of all, it has to be a unique one, and then it was well shot, and he probably put some money behind the marketing power so that more people can see it. And then once people see this creative video, they're able to share it more. And I think it's kind of like that. It's the trifecta, you know. Like if you're missing one of those, it's not going to happen. So, for example, you could have a really creative video and it can be shot very well, but if you don't know anybody and you don't have a budget for marketing, it might just sit there for a while until someone discovers it, maybe 5 years later or 2 years later.
No, I think that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of your channel. Can you give us a guideline as to what people can expect to get paid based on subscription levels? Like, you know, a lot of people have this misconception of like having 1 million followers. What does that mean from a revenue standpoint? In general, it doesn't have to mean like every single person will make it, but what can they have an expectation of for different subscription subscription numbers going up?
The way channels get paid, it's not so much by subscription, but by views. So, for example, if there's a channel that has 100,000 subscribers and there's another channel that has 10 million subscribers, but every single month they produce the same amount of accumulated views, they will get paid the same. So it's more so how many views, how many monthly gross views does the channel generate, and that's how much the channel will get paid.
So is there a measure if you have 100,000 views versus 1 million you can give us so people have an idea of what they can, like, I guess, aim to make working on YouTube?
Yeah, so generally speaking, the CPMs right now of the current market, they can go from $1 to $5, sometimes $20, depending on the season. But relatively, let's say it's $1, then that would mean that if it's $1 CPMs, that means you get paid $1 for every 1,000 views. So if you have a video that has 100,000 views, you'd get paid $100 for that. And if you have a video that's 1 million views, you'd get paid $1,000 for that.
So it seems like a lot of work for very little. I mean, when you think about like the cost of making 1 million view video, if it has to be well shot and everything, you're talking about a 5-10 grand investment versus a $1,000 return, no?
Yes. So the beauty of it is also in the residuals. So as you start building a library on your channel and you have 100 videos, 200 videos, all those videos that you've already created, although the growth isn't as quick as its first 2 weeks, it's still gaining more views. So if our channel, if we don't upload another video for like an entire month, the revenue will not drop more than 50%. It will. All those other videos are still making money on your channel. So that's the beauty of building like a stockpile and like an archive on your channel.